pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I apologize for me being late.
No, that's okay. All right, Dennis.
Again, the PFA budget was just over $45 million. We've contracted or encumbered just over 39 of that 45. And of that 39, we've paid out just under 25 million. Of that 25 million, the bottom of column F is what we anticipate to be eligible for reimbursement, which is 21 million, or just over 21 million. And with your reimbursement rate, we're anticipating a reimbursement of just about $13.4 million. So we're doing really well. We do have some changes that we do want to talk about. We got approval from the group to move forward with a change. We didn't have a hard number on it at the time, but we had a not to exceed 25,000, I'm sorry. And that was to redo the soffits in the corridors around around those group meeting rooms. And so the price that came in for that was $8,015. We had kind of put a worst case scenario of 25,000 out there, and so that work has been authorized, and they're moving forward with it. We do have a couple other items. Corner conditions at some of the curtain walls. That's a value of $3,165. I don't know if you want to talk about exactly what that is.
Well, Jen, you might be better. Wasn't it that the curtain walls didn't?
Yeah, the way the openings were framed, there were just some conditions that we needed to sort of close some gaps, so it was just some metal trim, which we thought was aesthetically would look the best.
Curtain wall was already
so
built, and it
Yep.
just didn't reach
Right.
all the way to the very edge of the framed down opening, so we.
And trim.
Yep. Yeah.
So again, that's $3,165, and the next one is a credit of $3,897. And that's for deleting some scoreboards. Apparently we owned scoreboards from two different subcontractors. So we're taking the credit from one of them.
Great. One hand washes the other.
Yeah. We have adding some wireless access points for $1,680.
That was something Mike Wakefield had
Right.
when he was reviewing the drawings.
Right,
so.
Furnish and install and wire some smoke detectors in the ductwork. And that was, Jen, I don't know.
Yeah, well, we're still waiting. We had some comments on that one, so this was essentially, we had specified for duct smokes that would be integral, and we decided Griffin wanted to wire them. We do have some comments, so that would be a not to exceed. We had, I think that'll come in less than
Yeah,
that,
and
so.
that's, the price that we got, which we're pushing back on a little bit, was $4,909.
Yep.
So it's, there's some labor working around wiring, pulling wire, connecting them, but if we can get that down a little bit.
Wasn't that projected when the ductwork was introduced, like in the scope? The scope of
Not
work,
sure.
wouldn't that be, if you're laying ductwork, wouldn't that be in the scope? I'm just curious.
There was some duplication, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was a-
What- wasn't it both?
We were at
Right,
that
and then
meeting. I think we were
Part
at,
of it too
Rick
was,
and I were at that meeting.
Yeah.
part of
They
it
just
too was
happened to be-
quantities that we were showing. We had to add a couple more.
Oh, I see,
So
I
it's,
see.
it's a combination of sort of redirecting the scope to the electrical contractor and as well as adding a couple. So it's
I
just
got
part
you.
of the review
I got you.
Yeah, I think deleting it out of the mechanical guy, giving it
Right.
to the electrical guy, there was some adds and deducts, but that's kind of the net.
I got you.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering my question.
And then there was just a, adding it was just really a detailing issue in the drywall and the stairs 2 and 3, adding another layer of drywall above the wainscoting so that it matches the rest of the building where, it's kind of a consistent,
It's a flush
wall.
detail,
Yeah,
right,
flush
so
detail.
the drywall's flush with the tile, it's just a detail that we had, and,
Yep.
we had changed wall types and sort of as part of that, it didn't capture that extra layer of drywall in those two areas, so.
So the cost for that was $10,463.
That's a lot of drywall.
Yeah, it's the two stair towers, so it's kind of three
Stories.
different levels on two different walls, so.
Is that the main staircase you walked me through the other day?
Yes, there's two of them,
Two end ones.
the two end ones.
I got
not-
you.
Not the one.
Not the one with the big stairs with the skylight,
Yeah.
which was also very nice, by the way.
Yep.
Good
It's coming
detail.
out, it's looking really
That was
great,
a
yeah.
Nice detail.
Yeah. I saw that was last week.
Mm.
And the last one that I wanted to talk about was something, we sent out an email on it, but it had to do with the art rooms. They're not, there's a concrete floor, there's no really soft surfaces to kind of absorb or deaden the sound in those spaces. They're on the third floor, so it's metal deck above, and you're just getting a lot of reverberation off the metal deck and off everything in there, we have exposed ductwork, lighting that's pendant lights that are designed to hang from the structure, and just a spray-on material, kind of like a spray-on fireproofing was thought to be the best approach. Hank had asked the question, well, can we just put a ceiling in there, but then you're getting a number of trades involved, which then may just bring the price up.
Same
It would
price.
be more costly to do that, and, it's unfortunate, it was sort of a design, thing that, we could have captured. I think at this point, this is the best solution, and in order to meet the schedule, we, had to sort of,
And just because it's an ad,
meet this. Yep.
doesn't mean that it won't be reimbursable. That was my question about the miss. I didn't know what else to call it.
Mine too, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just, in other words, okay, whatever, but if we do this, it's still, at least, the MSBA will make the decision. But that type of work can be reimbursed.
Typically, they reimburse for that. If we were to say it was required by the fire department, then they would not.
Right, it's a
Reimbursed
requirement
for
by
it.
code.
Right,
But if you said that it was an error or an omission during design, the MSBA would typically reimburse if it's within your typical scope of
Right.
Yeah.
work. If you say, oh, well, we wanted an extra wing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
That was my question.
Another office, I got you.
Yeah, exactly.
So
So there are a number of items that we are tracking. I just have this is the sheet that I just showed you or just talked about, so just a few items. There's a bunch of stuff that we track, and a lot of it just goes away. But there's really nothing on this that I think is, that we need to give you a heads up on just yet. So we would like to get approval on those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items.
Okay, just to go back to the phone for a second, so it's gonna be like a sprayed-on thing to the ceiling, is that what
Right,
I
yeah.
understand?
Like a spray of fireproof.
So it's like a 1-inch thing or a 2-inch thing?
1 inch, yeah.
1 inch?
And
Yeah,
some
Are you
with
familiar
sound.
with that stuff?
I've seen it, yeah.
It's like
And
K-13.
it's not like a foam insulation, it's more like a.
Is it white? Is it gonna match
It's
the
white.
ceiling?
Yeah,
Looks
Okay,
like
So you-
Fibrous.
That's
Kinda like a
Exactly
sealant
what you're
almost.
saying, yeah.
okay,
Fibrous.
I got you.
yeah, it'll aesthetically look fine, everything's painted white on the ceiling,
Yes.
so it'll kind of go away, but it'll give you the acoustical properties that you need in
Yep.
the space, really,
Great.
as a classroom.
Did we get a firm price on that yet, or?
Well, we went back and they really explained what was in their pricing, which then we said, oh, okay, well, I
Okay,
guess
yeah.
then that's,
No, I just wanted to make sure.
that makes sense. At first, we thought it seemed a little bit high, but one of the reasons that they're spraying this stuff, usually when they spray fireproofing, there's nothing else around, and it doesn't matter if they make a mess with it. Well, we have casework in there, so they're gonna be protecting the
They're
walls.
plasticking
protecting the
everything,
casework,
I
yeah.
got you.
And the
Well,
big push is to get this done
Oh, yes.
before they polish the floors.
Now, this is for both art rooms, correct?
Yes.
For
Right,
both
the two,
open
yeah.
ceiling rooms? I know, Chris, you're not using the other one for an art room, I don't think.
No,
but-
the other one will be for,
Health.
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 Yeah.
So it'll still be a class.
So it'll be a classroom, so it'll
Yeah.
make sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So you need approval for all that?
Yes.
Now, entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the changes that were just implemented.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Just while we're talking about this, again, we had, originally, with the bid savings, about 3.1 in contingency,
Mm-hmm.
and up to this point, we've only spent 300,000
Of the 3.1.
of the 3.1.
Nice, great job.
10%,
Yeah, that's awesome. That's under 10%, isn't it?
Just
With,
about,
yeah,
Well,
roughly.
10% of
Right.
the contingency, but
Right.
of the construction
Oh, the
cost.
Right,
construction
right.
costs.
Next to
Oh, yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
Right, so that's
Yeah.
peanuts. I got you.
Yeah.
Overall. I mean, you guys are doing a great job.
Where are we at, with the space that we spoke, I'm gonna call it a garage shed, I don't know what to call it, barn,
Maintenance facilities.
maintenance
Maintenance facility.
spot, that we discussed last, I think it was the last meeting, or at least we kind of roughed it out. I didn't know where we were with that.
Well, I sat down with Rick just to get a better idea, just to understand exactly the scope of it. I am in the process, I've got to work with Joel Seeley,
Oh,
who's
okay.
the project manager, because we'll probably put together an additional service, because it's sort of it's a little complicated, little building here. So if
Yeah.
there's some zoning, that sort of board meetings we'd have to go to, there's there's engineers involved,
Mhm.
so there's some time there. I mean, I'll talk it through with them and see if that's, we'll put together an additional service, as well as kind of a schedule of
Okay.
when we think it's timing, if there's engineers' time involved to design and sort of draw this up, we'll just.
John, just real quick, we have equipment, that there's really no place to put, in terms of undercover, so to speak.
Right.
One of the areas that we thought, there was a shed, for lack of a better word, where the police department had one.
Yes.
And we said, oh, that'd be perfect, we'll just reduplicate that. Given what's underneath, in terms of gas and a whole host of things, we could not put it there. So it didn't make sense to put it there. So in essence, it'll be where the transformer is, I believe, or the.
It's near the generator.
The generator, sorry, and it'll go straight back, and it'll be enough to put there's a track, there's a bunch of things that
How
we
big
can't get up into the school because the loading dock,
It's a 4-foot loading
it's a
dock.
4-foot loading
It's
dock, so we couldn't even put them in the building
Equipment that I
even if
can't
we.
get up in, so we need a place to store it.
Are we talking like the lawn tractor
Yep.
and,
Well, yeah,
Is the loading dock here.
Yep.
My trailers were here.
right,
So it's this-
little area right there?
but
That's
they're
where the
up-
trash was
Right.
supposed to go, right?
No, this was
No.
just all landscape.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's just
It's
got a
landscape
tree.
area, yeah.
Just that-
So you're taking some
that
trees
may
away,
be
is that what you're
fair.
saying?
One.
If we replace it somewhere
No, I'm
else,
just,
points-
I'm just.
I just wanted to see it, because I know that we
Um,
kinda talked about
Either
it.
that or I'll give you a shovel, you can go shovel
No,
it.
no, I believe what you're saying. Now, what size is it, like a 9x9 or like a 10x10?
I'm looking at possibly a 27 by 27.
That's a good sized shed.
That's why I didn't know what
It's
to
gonna
call
be in
it.
there too?
As Chris said, he enjoys the fact I started with a shed, then a garage, now a barn, now a maintenance facility, so I keep scaling it up a little bit as I'm
That's
going
good,
along here.
that's great. I'm glad
Well,
you're
we
moving
had-
up.
We had
But thank
talked
you for
about
that.
this quite some time ago, we just didn't know where to put it, and once we finally started the discussion, after we looked at our possible spots, it made sense to put it where we're gonna put it, so.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
But it could be a zoning issue, we have to get past.
Go through all that. yeah.
Well, there's a couple boards you need to attend to and
Right,
obviously
if
bring
we
your
have to go
drawings and
before
stuff.
the planning board
Planning
again,
board,
if
and
it's a
then
change,
if,
so.
yeah, and the
there's-
building inspector's probably gonna deny it, then it'll go to the Board of Appeals probably.
Well, let's not put the cart before the horse.
Right.
I mean, let's give the town's employees due diligence to do their job, and hopefully they come up with the right choice and
Oh,
decisions.
absolutely.
So going forward, I think that would be the best opportunity for everybody.
Yep. Great.
Not that I work for the town or anything. I don't get paid.
Rumor has it.
I know, you don't get paid either, do you?
So thank you for indulging me.
But
Yeah,
that's
so-
great, thank you for explaining
Based on
that.
that, I think what we would do is Jen would be providing a proposal to design it.
Right.
Program it, exactly what size it's gonna be and what's the best probably layout and make it blend with everything. What we'd also need to understand is a ballpark range of cost. Make sure that's in keeping with what would be acceptable,
Mhm.
before having them go and design something.
Sure.
But assuming, I don't know when that would be able to be submitted, we'll get it out to you for
Great.
review, and we'll go from there.
Great, perfect, that's awesome, thank you.
And maybe the other thing to talk about is the, what Carter's involved with is the paving on Wellington Road, so at least to get it in front of the group. Currently, we own in our contract, basically the length of our project from gate to gate,
Mm-hmm.
to mill 2 inches off the road.
Wellington and south.
Wellington.
Oh,
Well,
both
yeah,
sides.
we own it there, but Carter's only right now talking about
Wellington,
Wellington
I got you.
and 2-inch topping.
Mm-hmm.
He asked us to take a look at the physical condition of the road, which we felt it was pretty decent shape, but the possibility of taking it right down to the subgrade and recompacting it and coming back up with all new material.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had asked Bob, how do you say Bob's last name?
I try not to.
Okay. Bob,
So sick, I
DPW,
believe.
Is it-
DPW Bob.
DPW.
to take a look at it. I don't think he's done it yet. We spoke just the other day.
We drove it yesterday.
Oh, okay, good. But right now, just the number that we know is the area within our boundaries. We're looking at roughly $30,000 to do that.
The engineer piece, or to actually do the work itself?
So the contractor's
Okay.
cost to, eliminate this and add that.
I got you.
Within that limit.
Okay,
To do what Carter's asking, so in other words, to do kind of
Within
right
the
down to the
boundaries of our
subgrade and up.
project from-
Okay.
And if I might, here's our reasoning for that. There are so many cuts in there, and they've been back in and out and back in more than we would have liked to have seen. That if what they do is just mill it off, it's gonna be mill, patch, old material, patch, old material, patch. We think that the structural integrity of the base course has been degraded by how many times it's been gone back into. That the only way to really get a good serviceable road for the longer term is to remove the base. So you'd be going from patch to patch, wherever you'd made your
from gate to
cuts.
gate.
Oh, I see, not, okay.
What's the
Not the whole
infrastructure like
thing.
underneath? What do we know about the infrastructure underneath that?
Well, it's onto the subgrade, so I would
Well, we're
imagine.
just talking
Well-
about as far as subgrade.
It's maintained to its usual high standard by the local utility companies.
It's a good answer, thank you for letting me know that. Yep, okay, moving on. I got you, so that'll be about 30,000?
Yeah, we asked for a ballpark price from the contractor, just so we could know if it was something that you still wanted to
And
entertain.
if we need to go a little bit further, we'll look at, our chapter 90 monies or something. I mean, we wanna work with you to make this thing come out right. Cause we had I think we had a cut on the police station as well, maybe.
You did.
So at what point would you be letting us know the limits that you were looking for?
We can call you and come up in the next day or two.
Oh,
I'd have to
okay,
look at your
good.
plan.
In real near future, fine, so you
Yeah.
can plan for it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
gonna go
within-
that way.
I've got a bridge I gotta close tomorrow, so after that we'll come see you.
Chris, I don't know if you have
But-
a packet with invoices?
No. Oh,
Yeah.
Are they right there?
We just sat down and just.
What's that?
No,
decided.
he's got.
One,
You
sorry.
told me I'd never get bored, John.
I have.
Well,
Okay.
has that been publicized yet? Okay.
That's okay. You knew, so it's okay.
What am I doing with this?
I have to sign something.
Let me sign it. You sign that.
The same for you. There we go.
That looks good, you can have that.
Yeah. It just goes back across the hall.
Oh, you're gonna sign this too, I think.
I got.
Okay.
I got,
So of the invoices that you have there,
Yeah.
I'll just go through them.
Yep.
The first one, Fontaine, their application for payment for work through January, $2,034,748.44. On the second page of that application for payment is a summary for entering it into ProPay. And there is also the required transfer of title and photos of the stored materials, so we should be all set with that one. The next one is just Gardner News. And this was for, okay, that is right, $268. And this was advertising for the legal notices for the FF&E bid.
Oh, yeah.
SMMA's invoice for services through January, $56,724.70. And we reviewed that and recommended payment on that. The next one is Intertech. They were a company that came out to do window testing. It's called out for through the commissioning process, and this is something that is owner-paid material testing, but it's over and above what we typically have done from Allied Testing. So we do have an invoice here for $6,000, so it says 5 on this sheet here. And it's invoice 274282 is for $6,000.
Is there 2 invoices?
There should be, and I have one here, if you don't have it in the packet, that goes to Holly.
Yeah, I only have the first one. But
Yeah, and then the
I'll
one
take your
that's
word.
here, this one for $5,000 credit is
Yep.
a credit that we were due, so it's really, we'll be cutting them a check for $1,000, but we do have to enter these separately into the ProPay system. So, if you wanna put this in the packet.
So that'll be 6,000 for
all
that?
this stuff.
I have a second copy.
So that's really all the invoices. I see that our invoice hasn't made it in yet. The accounting system is making some changes in our office and kind of delayed ours, so next month you'll probably get double dip.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Excited.
So that's it for invoices.
Okay. I'll take a motion to
I'll make a
approve.
motion to approve these invoices as written for Fontaine Brothers, Gatehouse Gardner News, SMMA, and Intertech.
Second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
The only other item that we wanted to talk about tonight is that we talked about it last month, how we had received bids on the furniture and the FF&E. And Jen has handed out some packets with some of those results. We have some questions and some further work to do on the equipment. But the furniture, we are within the budget. I know there's some other things that we wanna look to purchase outside or in addition to the actual furniture out of the furniture budget, but really this is, we'll just have to talk about that, that other program material you talked about, Chris, at one point, but this has been reviewed multiple times. We looked at samples in the school, had staff involvement. The bids were received. If there was something that was submitted as a substitution, the furniture consultant reviewed it to make sure that it was of comparable quality, it was acceptable. But I don't think we really have on furniture, I don't think we have much in the way of any substitutions. So the good news is that basically, as designed is within our budget.
Awesome. Yes.
The lead times are, I see, just as you had said, the tables and the desks, 10 to 12 8 to 10 in terms of furniture, so it's good that we obviously got them out.
Yeah, well, exactly, and to try and beat every other school that
Right.
wants their stuff in July too. So we get it hopefully in late June, or at least in time to have it all set up, plugged in, ready to go for the start of school.
Yeah.
The thing we will need to talk about is just how we go about logistically ordering this.
Yeah.
And we can talk after about working with the business office to
Mhm.
get POs out. We want to get the POs out by the end of next week, if possible, or we have a little bit more time, I think maybe up until the 10th or 11th of March, ideally, to get them out, but the sooner the better.
Is that good for you, Chris?
They'll go through us, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
school.
and I can do the legwork with it, the paperwork, I just want to make sure that we have a system that everyone's
Yeah,
reviewing.
and we could talk about that, sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the equipment, we just have some questions, Rick, primarily those would be directed to you about, there was one question about single source of equipment, so you have one vendor to go back to for warranty or parts
Mhm.
and those sorts of things, and that's not possible, one vendor. You can probably
Well,
minimize
yeah.
the number of vendors.
Right, well, it's, yeah.
So we just want to talk to you about that, and some of the vendors are proposing substitutions, and we want to just get your opinion on some
Sure.
of those things before we release anything.
Mm-hmm.
There was some questions about whether the school could get those classroom recycle containers, the little waste baskets, if from a vendor or your.
I'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, so there's just some minor questions, but again, we anticipated and we talked about the fact that we really had a very low budget for the equipment, but with the furniture and the equipment, it really still is fitting into our original budget. We haven't really gone beyond that.
Great.
But we'll have to go through and just really look at those pieces and make sure we have everything.
Yeah.
All right.
Will do,
Great.
can do.
So I don't know if you need an official vote or something to authorize purchase of all this furniture?
Wanna do it just in
Yes,
case?
yes, we should. I'll take, and what's the, is this sheet here, right? Correct?
Yeah,
It's presented,
Do you have a motion to accept the FFE bid summary?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We have some, they just passed out some minutes. We should
Yeah.
approve the
sorry.
minutes of January 24th.
As written.
Yeah, as written.
We were able to release that to the public, correct?
Mhm.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes and as written and able to release to the public.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Is that it?
I've got a couple of quick things.
All right.
You use the time capsule, the one in the Islamic playground?
I don't have it, no.
Oh.
I think Diane, did Diane?
Di-
say she-
Diane
Diane,
Haley
I
Brooks has
think
it.
Diane has it.
Because they're looking to get it,
Oh,
we're starting to get.
Okay.
go towards,
Yep.
At least I know she has it and I can contact her.
Yep.
When we get a little closer.
Sure.
I know that it's just a phone call away.
yeah.
That's
yeah,
number one.
yeah.
Number two, as far as the new time capsule.
Yep.
Since I moved out of my trailer, I found some articles I had kept from the beginning, you know, having to do with the old school coming down.
Mhm.
And I was gonna throw it away. I didn't know if it's something someone wanted to consider hanging on to when you finally start collecting things and see
Yeah.
if you wanna put something.
Would be a good idea.
So I don't know if anyone
Seal
else
it
has
in
kept
plastic,
them.
but yeah.
Yeah.
We,
So-
at the central office, they've cut out every article
They
that deals
maintain
with
it?
us,
Yeah.
so,
Okay.
but we,
Yeah, if you wanna take
I
them
would
and-
gladly take in case, I'm sure we've missed a few here and there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll take them.
As well as, you're welcome to have the button from the.
Oh, yes, we got a couple of those.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I saved
that
mine
in
too.
there.
but-
Yeah.
If no one kept one, it might just be a thing
Sure.
to throw it. If not, I don't, yeah,
you're willing to part with that, Matt?
Yeah, I'm willing to part with it.
It's hurtful, but okay.
We
I
all
know
gotta
it's
make
hard, I know it's hard for
sacrifices.
you.
It broke
know.
my heart. I had to do a lot of soul searching. There it is.
Nice.
All right,
That's all I had.
Jen, did you have anything in particular that I didn't talk about as far as the furniture or any of that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, everything that we discussed with Emily was sort of minor in terms of anything that may have changed. But, so this is, it's an updated, it's similar to the PowerPoint that we presented a few months ago, at the beginning of the process. But, it's been updated for those minor things that may have changed. So, so that's just if you wanted to flip through it and
Yeah.
had any questions.
you have an electronic copy?
I do, I can email it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess just the other thing is the technology component. We are working with Mike Wakefield and the technology person in
Yep.
Jen's office.
Pat Wagan, who's our technology engineer, so, so we're working on finalizing the bid specs for that, and, actually, we have some large displays the touchscreen displays that are going in each of the classrooms. We have several vendors that are gonna be bringing in samples to be
Okay.
able to test and try.
Yep.
I'll, email you the date, they're still working on setting it all up, I'm sure Mike will let you know, but we'll let you know,
Yeah.
so you can go and test them out.
That's great.
And you did talk more about the cameras as well, the additional cameras that we'll
Those
potentially
are-
need.
Those
Yep.
are already in.
Okay,
No,
great.
well, in other words, they're,
They're in the budget.
It's been
Yes,
approved,
that's
the
already-
change has
was
been
approved,
approved.
change order, the whole bit,
Because
yeah.
that's huge for us.
Yep.
Yes.
That was done.
Thank you.
All right, anything else?
That's all I had.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries or adjourned.